Here it is, the news about the coronavirus. That's right, the news about the coronavirus.
After a popular app raised national security questions, one American company is looking to bring it stateside. That story and more when Spectrum News 1 returns.
Watch live news on the go from your team at Spectrum News 1 with the new Spectrum News app. Your only one destination for local news, weather forecasts, and events. The new Spectrum News app, your community connection. Learn more at SpectrumNewsApp.com. Download on the App Store or get it on Google Play. Spectrum News 1, a new kind of news channel dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the Buckeye State. With your local forecast every 10 minutes and all of the essential news you need 24/7. Plus, in-depth shows and exclusives focused on your community. Always Ohio, always refreshing, always on. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Voting is a lot more than just casting your ballot. That is the most powerful tool you have in our democracy. Every vote does count. It is your chance to make sure that your voice is being heard. Here at Spectrum News 1, you're getting the information that you need. You're hearing from the policymakers so that you can make the decision. The real impact is right there in your local community where you live. Decision 2020 on Spectrum News 1. Exclusively on Spectrum.
Weather in Ohio is changing all the time.
We get winter one day and 60s the next. At Spectrum News 1, our goal is refreshingly simple.
We bring you an accurate, reliable, and local forecast every 10 minutes.
We have an incredible, experienced team of people. We don't just know about the weather, we know about Ohio.
You never have to wait for your forecast with your Weather on the Ones.
Weather on the Ones, every 10 minutes, exclusively on Spectrum.
So this is Eva, and she goes everywhere with me. Like her, I have this innate sense of curiosity. I really like meeting new people. I love to explore, and right now I'm trying to travel to every national park across the country. Every morning, that same curiosity is what drives me as a journalist.
I'm Cynthia Constantine.
It really fuels the type of stories that we do. It defines us as Ohioans, and it's why I'm so excited to call this place home.
Microsoft says its CEO is in talks with President Donald Trump about buying TikTok. The president has threatened to ban the Chinese video app from the U.S. amid national security concerns. In a blog post, Microsoft promises a complete security review if it takes over TikTok and vows to keep user data safe. The company hopes to own and operate TikTok in the U.S., Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Lord & Taylor is filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Court records show the department store chain submitted the documents Friday. Fashion rental service Le Tote bought Lord & Taylor about a year ago, and the company changed hands in 2012 also. It's the nation's oldest department store dating back to 1826. Don't expect your next stimulus check anytime soon. Lawmakers and Trump administration members are still in negotiations on the next stimulus package. The main holdup? Democrats and Republicans disagree on how to continue the federal unemployment benefits that expired on Friday. Democrats want to stick with $600 per week, while Republicans want to lower it to motivate people back to work. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin is still confident about their progress, given the things they do agree on.
There's definitely areas of agreement. Things like the PPP, I think there's enormous bipartisan support. Things about checks in the mail, I think there's enormous bipartisan results. So Mark Meadows and I will be back there every day until we reach an agreement.
The Senate is scheduled to leave for recess at the end of this week. Still to Spectrum.com on Spectrum News 1, capturing change, the inspiration behind one man's lens to document the Black Lives Matter protests. And we have an exciting new way to keep you informed throughout your day. Keep up with your local headlines and your weather wherever you are with the all-new Spectrum News app. Go to SpectrumNewsApp.com to learn more about the app and to
Here
download
it is. The news about the coronavirus. That's right.
What if you had
The
to
news
choose
about the
between fixing your
coronavirus.
roof or buying food? Help us make emergency repairs for our neighbors. Text REBUILD to 484848.
Let's talk about women's health. Your health. Your needs. Your goals. Because we at Cleveland Clinic know you are unique. We have the best OBGYN care in Ohio, and we're dedicated to your health and safety. We're by your side for every stage. For care you can trust. For every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic. Get the care you need when and where you need it. Visit clevelandclinic.org/access.
Get excited for the plays, for the rush, the cheers, the tradition. Get ready to put your business inside the action. Everyone is here for the experience. Because wherever your customers are watching, that's the stadium. Advertising live events and coverage is our favorite sports return to TV. At Spectrum Reach, we fan together.
Powerful tool you have in our democracy. Every vote does count. It is your chance to make sure that your voice is being heard. Here at Spectrum News 1, you're getting the information that you need. You're hearing
Here
from
it
the
is.
policymakers so that you can
The
make a
news
decision.
about the
The real
coronavirus.
impact is right there in
That's
your local
right.
community where you live.
The news about the
Decision
coronavirus.
2020 on Spectrum News 1. Exclusively on Spectrum.
We know changes are happening. We know there's more to be done. Now, as our community rebuilds, we'll continue to support each other, caring for neighbors and family today, so we can all be together tomorrow. We know none of this has been easy. Thank you, Ohio. We're proud to tell your stories every day. We are Spectrum News 1,
Here it is.
exclusively on
The
Spectrum.
news about the coronavirus. That's right. The news about the coronavirus.
Good afternoon, Northeast Ohio. I'm meteorologist Ashley Beatty, and we're watching chances for not only showers, but potentially a few thunderstorms in this afternoon's forecast as well. The good news is, because we saw a decent amount of cloud cover early today, we don't expect a whole lot of instability, allowing for much in the way of severe thunderstorm development. So while it can't be ruled out completely, it is highly unlikely. Still, watch out for the possibility of some claps of thunder and some brief heavy downpours that will continue into this evening's forecast as well. We'll still be looking at chances for some showers and some thunderstorms, gradually starting to clear things out overnight. And after around midnight, most of our, especially thunderstorm chances, are going to be gone, but the majority of our rain chances as well. Still some spot showers continue even into overnight tonight, particularly for areas right along the lake shore. So even 5-6 o'clock tomorrow morning, don't be surprised if you wake up to a few sprinkles. And then likely as those showers move on shore, they are going to intensify a little bit more. So by around 10, 11 a.m., some brief heavy downpours will be possible, and then we'll keep those thunderstorms in the forecast through at least early Tuesday afternoon, and then we'll start to clear things out a little bit more by Tuesday evening. So still keeping rain chances in the mix today, as well as tomorrow, at least about a 30% chance for those showers and thunderstorms on Tuesday. But then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're seeing much more quiet conditions in the forecast. In fact, a really beautiful couple of days is coming our way in the middle of the week. So enjoy those, because the heat as well as the humidity are going to be coming back for the weekend. So back above average temperatures in the forecast, and Sunday really starting to feel a little bit more summery with our daytime highs in the upper 80s. Now this is right along the lake shore, but as we get away from the lake, we could see a few 90s returning to Northeast Ohio's forecast on Sunday afternoon. On Lake Erie, water temperatures in the 70s, winds lighter today out of the southwest at 5 to 10 knots, but again, there is that possibility of some thunderstorms. For your 7 days, starting Wednesday, we've got a nice dry, sunny stretch in the mix, but Friday, we're going back up into the 80s with mid to upper 80s in the forecast for the weekend. participating in rallies against police brutality, it's personal. For others, it's a chance to live the values passed down from their parents, but at the heart of it is the hope for lasting change. Spectrum News reporter Leanne Wallace has more on the effect of sharing stories.
I just had to reset mentally.
Anthony Evans has a story to tell.
I was injured by a police officer with a rubber bullet or rubber beanbag that was shot to the jaw.
And Nico Loaiza wants to give him the platform to tell it. In his own words,
I want to go back to just the whole healing process of it. It hasn't been as easy as I would like it to be.
Anthony's jaw has been wired shut for almost 2 months. It's been a long healing process, but Anthony refuses to stay angry. It's that positive energy that drew Nico to Anthony.
He was just so overwhelmingly positive, and he just had such a genuineness about him.
Nico's day job is photography.
The images of the first weekend, some of them, still haunt me.
He was inspired to document the Black Lives Matter protests in the city he grew up in, and part of his passion for racial justice was passed down from his late father, who also had a story to tell.
He was Peru Negro, so he came to Peru when he was 17, 18 years old for the education, but he was one of those people, he wasn't necessarily biracial, but in Latin American culture, if you are a Black Latin, it's kind of, you're not Black enough.
Shortly after moving to Texas, Nico's parents met in Austin Silker Park, and they bought a house nearby.
And he told me before, when cops would come to the house and stuff like that, they wouldn't believe that he was a property owner. My dad always made such a point to talk about how the opportunity in America is unparalleled. That's the reason why people come here. But at the same time, he was like, do not get it twisted. This place still thrives in racist ways.
While his dad isn't here to stand in solidarity with those fighting against police brutality, Nico is thankful for the stories he shared and the countless stories still being shared today.
For my dad now, I think that he would be very, very proud.
For Spectrum News, I'm Leanne Wallace. So ahead, we'll have the latest headlines and an updated check of your Weather on the One's forecast. But first, over the past 2 months, we've heard from dozens of Ohioans as to why they are using their voice to create change. This week, we relive some of those voices, including today, where we hear from the Ohio State Student Body President. Here's what she and other students say they're pushing for at Ohio's largest university.
My name is Rodia Hijazi. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a rising 4th year at Ohio State, and I was recently elected as student body president. I felt that my identity and the things that I was passionate about didn't really have a space in student government. So one of my biggest motivations for running for student body president was to elevate the needs and the passions and the issues that surround marginalized students on our campus and support them in creating change through the avenues that are available to us at Ohio State. So growing up as a Muslim student, oftentimes I would have to celebrate holidays or fast religious observations during school, and it's hard to receive accommodations for something that's not recognized on the academic calendar. So what we were able to do is advocate for testing centers to stay open after sundown for students who are fasting during the month of Ramadan. So just thinking about how I am able to pull my own personal experiences into the institutional level that can ultimately support all different students. So as a Black Muslim woman walking into a lot of these meetings and trying to advocate for these experiences, sometimes it is seen as you're coming from an emotional place or a very personal place, and it's really easy to get things like that pushed under the rug. But I do think that there's a lot of power in personal experiences and emotional experiences, because that is what's affecting people on the ground. So there's no reason for me not to bring that into a policy and decision-making level. It's not our job to speak on behalf of people or advocate on behalf of them, but it's our job to give them the tools so that they feel empowered to do so for themselves.
With Spectrum Mobile, you can talk and text as much as you want for free. I can afford that. There are no surprise taxes or fees. Even better. And plans start at $14 a month. $14? I spent $14 on this cup of coffee. That's a lot for a cup of coffee.
Well, it's got 6 shots of espresso, so
Why would you do that?
I'm a go-getter. I got big plans for this place. I'm going to repaint something softer. It's too bright. I'm going to revarnish this table. You want some sandwiches? I'm going to make you some sandwiches.
With plans from $14 a month and no surprise taxes or fees. Get Spectrum Mobile.
Making sandwiches? No, sweet.
Because it's the real story of us. It's the real story of community. I'm Mary Lee Melendez, anchor reporter, Spectrum News 1.
Weather in Ohio is changing all the time.
We get winter one day and 60s the next.
At Spectrum News 1, our goal is refreshingly simple.
We bring you an accurate, reliable, and local forecast every 10 minutes.
We have an incredible, experienced team of people.
We don't just know about the weather, we know about Ohio.
You never have to wait for your forecast with your Weather on the Ones.
Weather on the Ones, every 10 minutes, exclusively on Spectrum.
Voting is a lot more than just casting your ballot. That is the most powerful tool you have in our democracy. Every vote does count. It is your chance to make sure that your voice is being heard. Here at Spectrum News 1, you're getting the information that you need. You're hearing from the policymakers so that you can make the decision. The real impact is right there in your local community where you live. Decision 2020 on Spectrum News 1. Exclusively on Spectrum.
We know changes are happening. We know there's more to be done. Now, as our community rebuilds, we'll continue to support each other, caring for neighbors and family today, so we can all be together tomorrow. We know none of this has been easy. Thank you, Ohio. We're proud to tell your stories every day. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Whenever Charlie felt different, he remembered what his mother taught him. Different isn't weird, sad, bad, or strange. Different is different, and different is okay. Welcome back. You're watching Spectrum News 1, Ohio's only 24-hour statewide news channel. I'm Lindsay Oliver. Taking pride in Ohioans, an author is spreading positive messages about having a disability, how she is inspiring parents to embrace their children's gifts in today's Ohio Stories. We'll have that story coming up in just a few minutes, but first, let's get a quick check of your Weather on the Ones forecast.
We've been tracking showers and heading through the afternoon. We are likely going to see some claps of thunder, but thanks to many of us seeing a good amount of cloud cover early in the day, it looks like the vast majority of those storms are going to stay well below severe level criteria. Still, we're starting to see more sunshine, so a couple of more potent storms with some gusty winds, a brief downpour, and of course cloud-to-ground lightning will be possible. That's not certainly something we're going to see on a widespread scale. However, showers are. We're going to continue to keep those rain chances in play through the afternoon and into this evening as well. And at times, some heavy downpours, some claps of thunder, and some gusty winds will certainly be possible. But again, expecting most of our storms to remain well below severe levels. With more clouds in place, however, they start to break up during the afternoon. Some of us are going to stay in the 70s, but where we do manage to get a little bit more sunshine, we're going to get those readings up into the low to mid 80s this afternoon. 85 today in Athens, 84 in Columbus, and staying in the low 80s for Northwest as well as much of southwestern Ohio. I'll have more details on when 90s make a comeback for many of us. That's just ahead in the next few minutes.
Almost 1 year ago, 9 innocent lives were lost during a tragic shooting in Dayton's Oregon District. Now one of the victim's sons is looking to move forward. Deon Green was there the night his father, Derek Fudge, lost his life. Every day he battles with the pain he endured from that tragic night. But therapy, support, and sharing his story have helped him move forward. This year, he published a book called Untitled, Act of God, Act of Man. He also created the Fudge Foundation, which stands for Flourishing Under Distress, Giving Encouragement. Through his nonprofit, he hopes to help others like him heal.
I know what it is, getting in that dark tunnel, and if there's nobody there to support or help you out, you can be lost to suicide, to addiction, and to many other illnesses that can occur from depressions. I've been there, so I'm going to hold other people's hands and help them get through it too, so we can all shine together.
To learn more about his book and the Fudge Foundation, you can visit DeonGreen.com. With the stress of the pandemic, some are looking for a mini getaway to relax but still stay safe. The Lodge at Geneva on the Lake is a way you can escape reality while staying in Ohio. The Lodge has reopened and resumed their wine tours. Tours include stops at 3 to 4 wineries, and they've been updated to accommodate COVID-19. Shuttles operate at a capacity of 8 guests instead of 14 and undergo a deep sanitation and cleaning process in between each stop. You can also rent golf carts, swim in the inside or outdoor pool, and you can explore the outside beauty.
We have one of the most fantastic views, I would say, on Lake Erie. So even if all you're doing is just staying here, enjoying the pool and the lake itself, I mean, the wineries are bonus, I think.
And we can relax and enjoy nature, the vineyards, and feel safe, which is very important because right now so many people don't feel safe. For more information on how to visit Geneva on the Lake, go to SpectrumNews1.com and click on this story. Infertility is an issue many people experience. One Cincinnati couple is sharing their story in hopes of helping others. Carrie and Chris Stewart say they had difficulty getting pregnant. After looking at all the options, the couple learned about embryo adoption. It's a process where an embryo from another couple's IVF cycle is used to get pregnant. The couple says they either wanted a child that was entirely theirs genetically or neither of theirs, which is why embryo adoption worked for them. They now have 2-year-old Miles and another baby on the way. They say sharing their journey brings hope to other couples that may be experiencing similar struggles.
You will feel joy again. That was my biggest concern through all of this, is I felt so sad and I felt like I would never experience true happiness in what our family looked like, and it does happen again.
Chris and Carrie are expecting baby number 2 in February. In today's edition of Ohio Stories, children's book author Amy Webb writes about her daughter to educate others about limb differences and to illustrate the many ways in which her daughter navigates the world.
Charlie liked to do lots of different things. Sometimes Charlie liked to be loud and wild. He liked to climb and swing and run with his friends. But Charlie also liked to be quiet. He liked to sit and think and draw by himself. This made Charlie feel different. Whenever Charlie felt different, he remembered what his mother taught him. Different isn't weird, sad, bad, or strange. Different is different, and different is okay. I was pregnant with my middle daughter, and we found out that she was going to be disabled. So she has what we call limb differences. I mean, she has a more specific diagnosis, but really anyone who's born with any difference on any limb has a limb difference. I remember someone at church kind of been saying, oh, you know, what a poor thing, we feel so bad for you. And I just remember thinking, they've already counted her out, and she's not even born. My daughter's disabilities are very visible, right? If some disabilities are invisible, hers are very visible. She doesn't fly under the radar. Literally, there's been several times where she's gone to a playground and suddenly the kids just surround her and ask questions. And we would have these scenarios. And again, there's no manual for this, to how to handle this as a parent. There was no, like, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. And for so long, I felt like I was just stumbling through until I finally kind of got this rhythm down of how to handle this. Telling kids it was okay if they had questions, but also, like, you have to be nice, and you have to do that. You know, you can't use rude words, and weird is a rude word, and we use, you know, she's different, but she's not weird. And then I sort of ended with, like, there's some things I bet she can do that you guys can't do, and they were always like, what? And you know, I talk about how she writes with her feet, or how she eats with her feet, and I would think, you know, parents need to teach their kids, they need to have these conversations with their children, but it's like, you know, how often you're sitting down at dinner and be like, hey kids, did you know someone can be born without arms? Like, I know parents weren't just like naturally sitting down having those conversations. And so I just started writing, and that's when it really turned into this, you know, this way for me to process my feelings and just to process so much information in the world. I've interviewed 240 different families and individuals, and so that just, I really look back and think, like, that was an education for me. As one of the people in this interview series has said, what it looks like to be human in this world, and all the various ways that can look. Seen a lot of parents not knowing how to handle it, knowing they wanted to do the right thing, but the polite thing in the moment was to shush and turn their child away because they were uncomfortable. You know, not seeing children in wheelchairs in their TV shows, in their magazines, in their Disney movies, led to this like heightened awareness on a micro level. And then I had the idea to write a children's book. I don't know if you've ever had just like a knowing kind of settle on you, just like this is what you're supposed to do. So the main message too I wanted to get across again is that idea of not pitying us. That different, it isn't weird, sad, bad, or strange. It's just different, and that's okay. There's a spread in here where you see all these different kids represented. So you see a kid with a walker, you see Emma with her wheelchair, you see a mom doing sign language with her children, these things that aren't often represented. I just think, man, I wish I could just like walk in front of her with a billboard of like this is how you should interact with her. This is parents, this is what you can do. And I thought I can't do that, but the book became my billboard. If you can have this representation of this little girl and she's in a wheelchair sitting on the shelf, with the Cat in the Hat and Hungry Caterpillars, like that's just going to expose something, and it just normalizes, for lack of a better word, what is actually a very normal experience, which is disability. People said, was this based on a real experience? I was like, it was based on lots of real experiences. It was we lived that a lot. It's been over a year since the book's been out, and to still get messages or to still have people write about it or talk about it and how it has impacted people who are disabled and what it's meant for them to have their kids sometimes see themselves represented in the book or someone like them represent the book. To me, I think that has been the bigger emotional impact, is to watch it do what I really strongly felt it would do, but also, you can't prepare yourself to understand that. I always say, that when she was born, it was like I was given a new set of eyes and I've never seen the world the same way again. And in a very good way, her disability has taught me a lot about human possibility. It helps me see the variance and the beauty of what it is to be human in this world. I'm Amy Webb, and this is my story.
Another day of wet weather as we start our work week. Let's get a check of your weather in the One's forecast.
Hey there, and good afternoon, Northeast Ohio. I'm meteorologist Ashley Beatty, and thank you so much for checking in with us for your updated weather on the One's forecast. We'll continue to see some spot showers and a few claps of thunder into this evening. Notice how once we get into around 8, 9 o'clock, these storms really start to fizzle out, and much of our overnight time frame is going to be dry. However, I can rule out a little bit of rain by early tomorrow morning, especially for some areas right along the lakeshore. But after midnight tonight, we should